Tom Downey here for the Dallas Cowboys Report by Chat Sports. It's all presented today by Aura, the all-in-one digital safety tool that is a new sponsor here at Chat Sports, and we'll tell you more about them later on in today's show. But even though the Cowboys don't like doing things, we are almost to the post-June 1st timing, which means could see some more trade action around the Dallas Cowboys. So I've got trade targets that are more realistic than, say, Deebo Samuel or DK Metcalf in particular. And we'll begin with the biggest name on this list. That is Deion Jones, the Falcons linebacker. Two notes here. Number one, The Athletic says the Falcons are likely going to move on, whether it's a release or a trade, from Deion Jones. And it also was revealed on Thursday that Jones had shoulder surgery. He's going to miss the offseason. This reeks of he gone surgery, of he doesn't want to be there. The Falcons don't want him there. They are trending towards a divorce. Now, I didn't think Jones was as good in coverage last year, but he did have 137 tackles. The contract is a problem, due roughly $14 million over the next 2 years. The sweet spot, if you trade for him, is the Falcons eat some of the money, or maybe he gets released outright, in which case, well, Dan Quinn is, of course, the Cowboys' DC, and Jones was at his best under Quinn. Linebacker is an area of concern for me when I look at this team. Leighton Vander Esch is often hurt, not that great of a football player. Jabril Cox has upside, but he's young and totally unproven. A veteran like Jones would bring some stability to the Cowboys' linebacking room. Now, we're going to move on to other players here, but if you want more on the potential Deion Jones trade, I broke it down in depth on a recent video here on the Dallas Cowboys Report. Check it out. The thumbnail looks like that. I'll make sure to link that video as well. And if you're subscribed with notifications turned on, you won't miss out on any video here at the Dallas Cowboys Report. Now, for our wide receiver portion of today's show, I'm looking for two things. Guys that can help me at receiver, slot in particular, and I need a punt returner. I don't have one right now on this team. The Denver Broncos have several players at the wide receiver spot who can contribute. They've got their big three, of course, in Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy. They've got guys like Seth Williams, Montrell Washington, recent mid to late round picks. That makes Hamler a potential trade piece. He fits as a slot receiver and as a punt returner. And oh, by the way, he's super cheap, much to the delight of one Stephen Jones. Now, Hamler's impact has been limited so far in his young NFL career, which I think would make him pretty cheap from that perspective. Could you get him for maybe a fifth rounder? I think that's very doable for Denver and for Dallas if the Broncos are healthy at receiver. Most of these guys would probably be closer to a roster cut-down trade. But Hamler in there as another option at wide receiver 3 and as your punt returner, I feel better about the wide receiver room short-term and long-term at punt returner if they go about that particular route. Of course, there is no guarantee the Cowboys actually end up making a trade because, well, they don't always like to do that because they like their guys, darn it. So what do you think? Will the Cowboys make a trade? This question is the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in your Y for yes, they'll make one, and for no, they will not. Here's a local boy, Jalen Reagor, and I think I speak for most Eagles fans that they would love to move on from him because he has been a colossal disappointment as a first-round pick. Could have had Justin Jefferson, an L for Philly there. I think a change of scenery is good for Reagor right now. He's been a return man, not great at punt returner, but if traded, he is quite cheap, even though you would not pick up his fifth-year option at this stage, although you have a full year to decide there. Reagor's career production, if this was CeeDee Lamb's first year, we'd be like, not great, hope it breaks out. For it to be his career production, he's not worth very much. I think a late day 3 pick, maybe conditional, could go down and could be enough for the Cowboys to acquire the former first-round pick. So realistic names only, not Aaron Donald, not Patrick Mahomes, etc. realistic name that you want the Cowboys to go out and trade for. We're focused in on guys that are cheap and, to be honest, not star players. I want you to do the same in the comments right now. Stick with our local theme at receiver, Jalen Darden. And I liked him quite a bit coming out of North Texas, where producer Jeremy went to school. Not sure if he graduated, but he went to school there. Darden was the Bucs' top punt returner in 2022, but their receiving room is overloaded right now. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, Tyler Johnson, Brashard Perryman, Scotty Miller, Jalen Darden. That's too many guys already. So Darden could end up being an odd man out, especially the Bucs say we can place somebody else there at the punt return spot. Maybe it is Scotty Miller. He didn't do much of anything at wide receiver last year, but was their main return man. That is the type of player I'd be like, hey, 5th round pick, 6th round pick. How you feel about that, Tampa? You've got too many receivers. The Bucs in particular makes a lot of logical sense to try to acquire if you're looking for more receiver help like I am at this point. Now, today's show is powered by Aura. They offer financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, online and device security, and family plans for up to 5 people. They are an all-in-one online safety tool and the newest sponsor here at Chat Sports. And you can get a 14-day free trial as a Cowboys Report watcher when you go to aura.com/chatsports. That link will be in the comment section and in the description. You might not know it, but 32 billion records, that's billion with a B, were hacked in 2020 alone. And if you're like most people, you're in real trouble if you lose your phone because all your passwords are saved on there, right? Aura helps you shop, bank, and work online more safely and privately. And with that 14-day free trial that you can cancel at any time, there's no reason not to try it out, right? So head over to aura.com/chatsports today and give yourself some extra protection, some needed protection with our friends over at Aura. One more receiver trade. This is a more under-the-radar name. That is Lynn Bowden. The 2023 round pick, simply put, has not been set up for success. The Raiders drafted him, try to make him into a running back, and we're like, this isn't working. We'll trade him. He goes to Miami, finally gets to see with the playbook, but in the process, then gets hurt last year. He has not been a kick returner or punt guy in the NFL, but he was one of those in college and at an affordable contract with 2 years left, and maybe the odd man out behind Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Cowboys legend Cedric Wilson, plus Preston Williams and Trent Scherf and Eric Ezukanma. Bowden could be available for a very, very cheap cost. He is not going to be a high-impact receiver at this point in his NFL career, but I'm not looking for a number one with this list. I'm looking for a punt returner. I think Lynn Bowden could be that guy. So 4 receivers on this list. Are they stars? No, they are not. That's why they're somewhat obtainable options. Pick one for me. KH for KJ Hamler, JD for Jalen Darden, JR for Jalen Reagor, or LB for Lynn Bowden. All right, some more linebacker options here. Both of them, the members of the Minnesota Vikings. First up is Troy Dye. Dye played a little bit this past year in Minnesota, but the Vikings are overhauling their linebacking core. They signed Jordan Hicks to go with Eric Kendricks, and they drafted Brian Asamoah in the 3rd round. That makes Dye a 2020 4th-round pick, and Chaz Surratt, a 2021 3rd-round pick, who did not play at all last year, I think potentially available. At least one of those guys could be had. Higher investment than what the Cowboys made for Jabril Cox for Surratt, although he didn't play at all last year, of course, and gives them a potentially higher end and a bit more proven impact at the linebacker spot. And given the uncertainty around the depth with a bunch of unknowns, I do think adding a relatively high draft pick with upside actually makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys. Worst case, I wasted a 5th or 6th round pick. Sometimes those guys don't even make your roster for a singular season. I would love to find a swing tackle, and those are very tough to find because there aren't very many good ones out there. Chuma Edoga, the former USC tackle, could maybe be that guy. He has had starts at both right tackle and left tackle, and the Jets this year drafted another offensive tackle in the 4th round in Max Mitchell. Udoga's in the last year of his deal. He's super cheap. He's not a great football player. That's, again, you're not going to find great swing tackles available for trade. Those teams keep them, or they get traded to go be a starter somewhere. But he is an experienced and not 35-year-old option like the Cowboys have tried with Ty and Secchi in recent years. Now, the idea is that Udoga brings you a more proven experience. He got 756 career snaps on his resume. Not a great run blocker overall with his PFF grade there. The sacks, not great either. Again, we're dealing with limited options here when it comes to the available players. But I do know that Udoga can be a passable backup for you. To be honest, we don't know if that's the case with Josh Ball or Matt Waletzko. I hope that they are, but we don't really know that because they haven't done anything in their NFL career. So I would keep an eye on that swing tackle spot as we go further along into the offseason, because we know this. Tyron Smith will miss time. He's simply going to. The 12 games is out there, he's awesome. But those other games he missed might sink your season. So what do you think is the biggest need left for the Cowboys? I think it's actually punt returner, to be honest, or making me the owner, but that's cheating. So let me know what you think it is. Biggest need the Cowboys still need to try and fill. One dark horse name I'll mention, because it's not that big of a need anymore, is K'Lavon Chaisson, the edge rusher who I think probably would have been the pick had the Cowboys not taken CeeDee Lamb in round 1. That was the name heavily linked to Dallas before the Raiders and Broncos didn't take Lamb. Thanks, guys. He has not played that much in Jacksonville. He was always a developmental upside player. He is, by the way, still super young, so there is time for him to grow and develop. Had the Cowboys not drafted Sam Williams in round 2, might have made a little bit more sense, but the numbers game of Lawrence Armstrong, Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Terrell Basham, and even Chauncey Golston doesn't quite add up the way I think you'd like it to. And Chaisson has been a bit of a disappointment so far, but as a potentially very affordable edge rushing option, well, the Cowboys have to acquire those guys overall.